City that are travelling up here, the fans coming along, backing them to the hilt. Leicester's drop-off was quite stark, really, from the first to second half, partially down to an improvement from Portsmouth, who seems to me clearly had a talking to by the manager. They've upped the ante, and they've got their reward, and I don't think they'll feel aggrieved that they didn't get the 3 points, but they'll feel that they deserve the one, and I think that's fair dues overall. Leicester, but not back to the drawing board. They've got a lot to ask themselves, a lot to look into. Highly impressive in parts, and other times, not abject, but they looked slightly scrappy and slightly lethargic.
8 games unbeaten and having to settle for a draw tonight then. Thanks for your company. It finished at King Power Stadium. Leicester City 1, Portsmouth 1.
Thank you very much, Matt. Matt Elliott was on co-commentary duty. Makes sense to stick with you, Matt, for the moment while we've got the pictures from King Power Stadium. We were saying at half-time, I'm not sure how much you were able to hear of it, but how do Leicester avoid repeating history with what happened against Wrexham? Unfortunately, the same has happened again, Matt.
Yeah, exactly. They're quite surprised, really, because against Swansea, I thought that was the most impressive performance up to date. And then that was backed up by this first half performance. You think, right, is everything properly gelling now? Do people properly know their jobs? Ramsey and James looked exceptional in that first half to me. And the other players weren't far behind. They were in pretty firm control of proceedings, weren't they? Now, I know very few football games go the entirety in that manner, but to drop off like they did, I wouldn't accuse the team of arrogance. I know the manager mentioned, and I don't think he meant it in its most brutal form, about the arrogance against Wrexham. I think there was a little bit of that tonight, again, in terms of, I think they probably thought the real hard work was done, and perhaps Portsmouth would succumb in the second half, and they just roll them over. That wasn't to be the case. Excuse me, sorry, but they took their foot off the gas. Portsmouth did the opposite, tested Leicester out a bit, and Leicester had not a lot in reserve, really. And I don't mean in terms of people coming off the bench, which is a different matter, but just in terms of they didn't have much energy to go again, really, until the very, very final stages there. They'd made a little bit of a thrust to win the game, but they were out-fought in that second half, you have to say, if I'm being honest.
Jerry Taggart and David Nugent are alongside me, Dan Bates, here in the studio at King Power Stadium. Obviously, we've been out there and we've seen it as well as Matt. How do you assess it, Nuge?
He said at the very end there, I thought we lost our energy. The energy got zapped out was in the second half. I thought, first half, great performance. Matty said 2 midfielders were running forward with the ball, creating chances, putting the ball through to the wings and the strikers. Second half, didn't see any of that. Portsmouth came out, fighting stronger. It was like the switch in it, like Leicester best first half, Portsmouth second half. Probably draw was the right result in the end. With tailored 2 halves, I thought. But yeah, we can't do that. Matty said the Swansea game, best performance of the season. Followed that on into the first half, and the second half we just didn't turn up.
Yeah, pretty much. I think tactically as well, Portsmouth made a slight change tactically, where they sort of pressed higher up the pitch. They stopped Harry Winks from getting on the ball as much. But even in doing that, that doesn't stop the two attacking midfielders in James and Ramsey having an impact on the game. But that just didn't happen in the second half. Abdul didn't have as much effect. Whether or not all the travelling he's done with going away on international duty had played in his hand, and sometimes that can happen. But yeah, Portsmouth, with that slight tactical change in the second half, just sort of stopped the momentum, any momentum that Leicester might have thought they were going to have coming into that second half. And when Portsmouth, I suppose you could say, when they seen that tactical switch work for them, they sort of grew in confidence as the half went on. And, got a goal for all that hard work. Simple as that. and Leicester just unfortunately couldn't reply at the end.
Yeah, there were chances, particularly in the first half, Nuge, but it's hard to recall many in the second, isn't it, that Leicester did have. That one for Luke Thomas right at the very end. Aside.
Jordan Ayew shot that just whizzed past the post as well comes to mind, that one. But that Luke Thomas one was probably the best. You know, maybe Bobby could have gambled at the end. You know, just threw his body at the ball to try and tap it in, but you know, great effort. If I'm, you know, Luke Thomas like running to the box, hits the target, maybe might get a tap in, but other than that and the Ayew shot, there wasn't much to talk about. You know, Portsmouth come out, you know, pressed as high and deserved to equalise. And if the one team was going to win it, it would have been Portsmouth. But again, we take the point. You know, it's not a defeat. You know, obviously it's a point that it's a gained. You know, we more points on the board. That's a positive. But second half performance is probably just let us down a bit, I think.
Yeah, I think. You know, we were talking at half time, if Leicester raised their standards by 5%, they could have a very easy evening. And it was the opposite. It was Portsmouth raised their game, and Leicester's Matt Elliott's just alluded to, it sort of dropped off. It sort of got into the comfort zone almost, if you know what I mean. And in the end, you know, obviously they've come off for a draw, and it's a game where they're in the lead at home and they concede in the second half and walk off with a draw. So they'll be disappointed in the dressing room you know, there's no doubt about that. But they've got to move on. There's a game on Tuesday night, another tough game away at Hull. So you can't dwell on, you know, disappointment of tonight's result from a leading position.
How disappointed, Matt, will the supporters be, do you think, this evening, leaving King Power Stadium?
Yeah, I thought you heard evidence of that a little bit. You know, it wasn't categoric and loud boos, but it was sort of murmurings and disappointment more than anything, really. Because I think they were slightly bemused how Leicester could be so good one half and so poor, basically, in the second half. You know, they got overrun a little bit, and as I mentioned a number of times, I think largely that's credit to Portsmouth. As Jerry mentioned, it changed things tactically, but it changed it mentality-wise as well. But the supporters are thinking, I think they're sort of like mildly frustrated, because as an observer of the game, I am with Leicester there, because I see so much that can be good and is good at times, and then they don't back it up, or they let it slip, or they can't sustain it for the entirety of what's required. I don't mean from 0 to 97 minutes, but for longer phases of the game. In patches they look excellent, other times they look a little bit, not meek, but a little bit vulnerable. And I think the supporters are thinking, oh, why is this happening? You know, why can't they show that level of consistency? Because the potential is there. I don't think there's any deep-rooted anger or anything like that from the supporters. It's just frustration of what might have been and probably what should have been.
Hi Matt, it's Jerry here.
Hello, sir.
I've got a question. I mean, we were speaking at half time in here about the deja vu maybe of the Wrexham game coming back. So in regard to that, you know, the first half performance was that good. They go in with only the 1-goal lead, possibly could have been more than that 1-goal lead. But was that something that was running through your mind at half time? Looking back to the Wrexham game and thinking, well, if...
Yeah, I think it was, to be fair, and I don't think I was alone in that, you know, probably yourself included, and Nuge and Batesy, but also a large percentage of the supporters. They come regularly and they see things, they make their judgment over a period of time, and I felt as if maybe the players felt that way as well, because I don't know why they didn't follow it through. I thought they were very impressive in the first half. They didn't carve Portsmouth open too often. Excuse me again. So when I think the potential to do that was there, but they were playing at a higher level, I thought. Keeper made a couple of really good saves. One from Ramsey in particular. And it was 1-0, could have been 3-0, 2-0 was probably about right if you're doing XG and all that type of thing. But it wasn't to be, and it was. I think there was an element of Leicester sort of going within themselves, take the foot off the gas a bit, but also not having that conviction about themselves to say, right, okay, we're playing well here. I'm actually frustrated that we're only winning 1-0. Let's go and sort this out. Let's go and finish this off. And then once Portsmouth sort of sensed a bit of frailty, I thought, and then once that happens, it's hard to recapture that dominance, isn't it? And Portsmouth's tails go up, and all of a sudden it's a different proposition the whole game. That's how I saw it. So it's something they need to correct. I think the manager will be looking very sternly at it in terms of like the mentality and maybe even the physicality, because Nudes mentioned there, and so did I. They looked a little bit short of energy, short of dynamism in that second half. So a few things to consider, but far from doom and gloom.
Let's talk, Nuge, about Aaron Ramsey and his goal and overall performance. How well taken is the goal itself?
That's good. We've seen a few replays now, haven't we, of the goal. I think Abdul does it very well getting to the byline and cutting the ball back. I think the ball might take a slight deflection, hence why he has to, change his body position and, do like the acrobatic finish. But I thought he was a live wire first half. He was getting in good areas, getting shots on target, scored his goal. It's just a shame that we couldn't carry the momentum on into the second half. The break came at the wrong point, didn't it?
Yeah.
We were on top of the game. It's like after the Swansea game, we have an international break to get the momentum. The first half I thought we were brilliant. Again, the break just kills it. The lads going half time. Probably get praise from the manager saying how good they played, but I don't know if you just took the foot off the gas.
It's hard
It was a bit too easy in the first half, weren't it? And then obviously Portsmouth have probably got a rollicking off their manager. They've come out fighting, and we just lost all our energy. Portsmouth took it all. They took the momentum off us, and then they looked at the team that were threatening the most. But I think the manager will be disappointed. There will be a few performances there where he'll think should have made the substitutions at certain times. But I think he'll be disappointed overall. But I thought Ramsey, as you said, was one of the live wires in the first half.
Yeah, it's just hard to understand, really. You go back to the last game at Swansea away. Leicester take a lead, Swansea equalise, and then Leicester just go bang and just go into another gear. And for some reason, it just didn't happen tonight. It just didn't happen, and it's hard to understand why, to be honest. The only thing I can come up with is basically the international break for some of them was a step too far. I don't know.
How good of a piece of ingenuity is the goal from Aaron Ramsey, Jerry?
Yeah, it's excellent. I mean, it's obviously he's not expecting that ball to be going behind him. He wants it the ball to be coming straight across the goal, him running onto it, and it's an easy side foot finish. And so then you've got to think on your feet, but you've got to think quickly in those scenarios where the ball's behind me. And I'm saying that every player on the planet is able to sort of pull off one of those dynamic type of reverse kicks, flicks, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean, fair play to him. Superb flexibility.
Not something we've established that you scored a goal like that, Nuge, in your time.
I don't think I've ever scored an overhead kick, to be honest with you. I've scored a volley.
No overhead kicks or side volleys or anything?
I've scored a volley.
Yeah,
Anyone can score a volley.
So I'm not very flexible, even when I was playing. Still can't touch the toes.
Still playing now.
Yeah, I'm even worse now. No, I just think we have got energy in midfield, and we've seen that in the first half. I just think that just got totally zapped out of us in the second half. Jordan James and Ramsey, they have got the energy. They might lack that bit of physicality, but in these games, you want this energy to last for a good 75, 80 minutes and then come off. It seemed to happen straight away. As soon as he had the break, everything just went out the window. But yeah, we'll learn from it. We haven't been beaten. It feels like a defeat because the second half performance wasn't the best, but Portsmouth will be delighted with a draw away at Leicester. That's why our fans weren't happy with the final result, but point in the right direction. We're still playoffs, aren't we? Still playoff positions? Yeah, so we're still in the mix. It's 8 games. How many games have we played? Is it 8 games? 9 games, 10?
10.
10, there you go.
10.
10
Fourth
games.
place after 10 games.
Still what? 36 to go.
Yeah, 4 points off second place at the moment, but there's an awfully long way to go. There's
exactly.
2 games less than what there is in a full Premier League season still to go. So yeah, there's plenty of time for things to iron out. A quick word, Matt. We'll talk about Abdul Fatawu in a moment, but Jakub Stolasic made a fantastic save, Matt, didn't he? I think when the score was 1-all, at the near post with his left foot. How important a save was that, and how good of a save was that?
Yeah, can we make it quick? Because you know it's Saturday night. I've got places to go, mate. Places to go. Yeah, good save, Jacob. Well done. Anyway, move on. But no, it was vital. It was vital, wasn't it? Because I mentioned it in the commentary, actually. I forget who it was, went down the right-hand side. It pulled it back, and it was good movement, sort of reverse movement. And the 2 centre-halves, Leicester, Vestergaard and Fass, for me, they had their body position in the wrong position. They were looking at the ball. They weren't looking at the movement. And as Jerry will back me up, don't mark the space, mark the man. And it was the man who scores the goal, isn't it? Or has the shot at goal. And Stolasic reacted quite well. And that was a really precarious time of the game. And it spurred Portsmouth on even more. You know, possibly should have done a little bit better with the finish. But they realised then that they could breach Leicester's line and perhaps go on and win the game and get the 3 points. It wasn't to be, but it just bolstered their confidence. And part of the goalkeeper's makeup, though, isn't it? You've got to be. He wasn't brought into action too often, but when he was, did what he needed to do. Would you question him for the goal? I don't know. It was a hell of a strike, wasn't it? Stolasic's been pretty consistent. It was a good turn, wasn't it, and strike by Swift, wasn't it? And I don't know what the boys think in the studio, but he's been pretty dependable by and large, hasn't he, Stolasic?
Yeah, I think Swift had both corners of the net to go at. You know, he could have gone either corner. When he pulls the ball back, and he's uninterrupted. By this time, Luke Thomas has already slipped on into ground. He can pick either corner there, can't he, Dave? So I think it's just a good finish, a really good finish.
You always say keeper shouldn't be beaten in the near post there.
Yeah, I know, but
of course you would side with that against the goalkeeper.
Yeah. No, it was a great finish. Obviously, but Luke slipping didn't help because I think Luke might have had a better chance of blocking the shot. But when he does slip, John Swift lifts his head up and he's got either right or left to aim for. You know, Jakub's just got to guess which way he's going to go, but it was a hell of a finish to fair some near stick, top corner.
Yeah.
I don't think we had much chance with it.
No, I think that's pretty harsh from Matt. From Matt, actually. Abdul Fatawu got that assist, didn't he, in the first half. Coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks, there will be a brand new documentary made by us here at Leicester, charting his whole recovery, basically from first doing his ACL injury on international duty a year ago, through his recovery, getting back stronger and getting back on the pitch. So Abdul Fatawu back stronger. Here's a trailer of what you can expect.
Hello, I'm going to release a new banger called ACL. Are you ready?
Abdul Fatawu has been ruled out for the rest of the season with an ACL injury.
Different feelings, stress, mood swings. It's so boring. I like your drip today, give me like more energy.
God gives you what you can't handle.
Fatal is a wonderful kid.
Yes, that is Abdul Fatawu, Back Stronger, a new documentary that will be coming over the next couple of weeks. There's also a chance for you to come to an exclusive documentary screening of that here at King Power Stadium. Abdul Fatawu will be there himself doing a Q&A as well as watching that. Tickets are available on the website and on the app as well, so do have a look out on that if that's something that you're interested in. Nuge, it looks good, that, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it looks good. You know, something different. You know, obviously getting injured, ACLs. It's it's a horrible injury, and you know, I know many players who have struggled to come back from them, and well, he's got age on his side. You know, he's young, he's willing, he's keen to come back stronger, and I'm sure you'll see that in the documentary. You know, all the workouts he does in the gym, all the physio, all the treatment, and obviously going back home from where he was from to show where he grew up. You know, I think it'll be a good spectacle, and I might even come to the Premier and watch it, mate.
Yeah.
It's quite. I think it's quite nice to watch it. You know, he seems like the life and soul of the party, doesn't he?
Yeah.
No, he's always positive. Obviously, he'll have his down times when he got injured. There'll be days where he'll be thinking, "Oh, I just want to come back sooner." But you can't rush these injuries. You know, you need to build it back up, make it stronger, and you know, as you can see on the pitch, it looks like he done that. You know, very well with all his treatment in his.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's good insight for the fans to see what actually goes on behind the
What
scenes.
players go through as well. Yeah.
You know, the pain, not just, I mean, the physical pain, like when you are out injured, what you actually have to go through to get back to a level of fitness, so before you can go out onto the pitch. And obviously they've got all the more modern equipment now in the gyms. So again, good insight to see what, you know, the facilities that the players have these days. But obviously there's a lot of, like he said, it's boring, it's stressful, it hurts. I mean, there is a lot of mind games going on as well with yourself. Am I ever going to get back fit? Why do I have to keep pulling this machine? I don't like it very much. And you do go through a lot of stresses and strains when you're injured. So I think that will be good insight for the fans to see. And obviously talking from experience, being out for a whole season as well, how it affects you mentally as well as physically.
We speak to a number of the medical staff as well, the physios. They almost become your best friends, don't they? In that process, in that recovery. Phil was one of the physios that we speak to. We saw him in the trailer there. They built up a fantastic relationship. Those two was really funny to watch, actually. But it is isolating, Jerry, and that is something that you learn in the documentary.
Because that's a good point you make. Isolating, because you're watching all the lads out on the pitch training. You're going to the games and watching all the lads playing. And that's, as an individual, you say, I should be out there. Well, but you're not. You're stuck indoors for hours on end every day.
No days off, yeah.
No days off.
You'll be at the training ground on his own with the physio,
exactly.
working his socks off, trying to get fit. Everyone's at home with the families. You know, he's coming in on his own, just him in the physio. You know, the training ground will be empty. No plays in there, just him in the physio, just working hard. And you know, that's hard, that they're dark days, but you know that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and we're seeing that now.
Yeah, he's a type of player that relies on kind of raw pace, raw power.
Changing direction.
Obviously, his recovery's been incredible because we've seen that, not just tonight, but across the season. But for a player like that recovery and the treatment that he gets has to be, I don't know, it's a bad example to say, you know, compared to a central midfielder, for example. Obviously, that has to be really good as well. But someone who relies on that, you know, explosive part of the game, it's got to make sure it's top level.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, everyone gets individual training and everything's tailored individually for everybody. But, you know, the process is still the same. You still have to build your muscle back. You have to make sure that the injury that you do have doesn't happen again. And then after all that, that's when all the individual stuff comes in, and then your rehab is tailored for your individual position or how your body is built, what you rely on more than anything else. But like it can be a very dark place when you're injured.
It's like the more the fear, it's fear when you come back as well, thinking it's going to happen again. So mentally, he's going onto the pitch thinking, if I get tackled or if I cut inside, what's my knee going to do? All this is playing on your mind as you're playing football. Touch wood, I've never done my knee. You know, you have. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just mentally, physically, it's draining for the player. Abdul, it looks like he enjoyed most of it. You know, in the gym. You know, you can see him screaming on the documentary at the windows.
Think,
you know,
that's where the fitness guys become critical as well to your recovery. You know, and I don't mean by what the sort of exercises they're giving you or what machine they're going to put you on today. I mean mentally, understanding how you work as an individual. You're almost like a psychologist rather than a fitness or a physio.
Yeah. Well, that is Abdul Fatawu back stronger than that documentary. The evening that I was talking about, where Abdul will be there, there'll be a Q&A. David Nugent says he'll be there as well. It's Wednesday, the 29th of October. So do get your tickets. I think it's £15 to get in. It's in the Weller Lounge here at King Power Stadium. But it'll be a really good evening to watch that documentary in full, and it really is fantastic. Matt, you've been waiting patiently. I know on this Saturday evening you want to be out and about doing other things. Knowing you'll be going home, I'm sure.
You'll be going nowhere.
Yeah, you'll be going home. We'll let you have the final say, though, on the evening tonight. Overall, are you going home frustrated with what you've seen on the pitch tonight in terms of the fact that Leicester couldn't get the 3 points in the end?
Well, I was just going to say, this is a cardboard cutout of me. I left 10 minutes ago. Am I less frustrated? Yes, like the majority of people who came here to the King Power today supporting Leicester, be quietly, bemused and befuddled a little bit, I think, thinking, how did they not win that game? Or how did the turnaround become so stark, really? And I think that was even more exaggerated than the Wrexham game. I thought Leicester were better in the first half tonight than they were against Wrexham, and worse in the second half than they were against Wrexham tonight. And the manager's going to be scratching his head a little bit, isn't he? But there are little reasons that we've mentioned there. Fatigue. Why fatigue? Is it some people have been away? Other people say Ramsey getting up to peak match fitness. Is that an issue? Quite high energy games that those two play at, don't they? But you can't let those sort of things become excuses for you. You've got to power through that and be strong as that as a group. And I hope it doesn't become something that proves to be Leicester's undoing this season, because I think they have the potential to be right up at the top section of the league.
And your wonderful insight during this post-match. You can get yourself off to bed. David Nugent and Jerry Taggart, I'm sure you'll be doing the same after your 4-minute cameo for Anstey Nomads today. Nuge, Jerry, on your birthday.
My birthday, going home to bed, mate.
Going home to bed. Yeah, that's the sign of getting older, isn't it?
It is.
Older. Nearly said old.
Middle age has well and truly set into my bones.
Well, those bones will be going up to Hull on Tuesday, won't they? Tuesday night, Leicester's next game. At least they've got a short turnaround before the next game, where hopefully they can get another win on the road, just as they did against Swansea in the last away game before the international break. That game with Hull, just like tonight, is a 7:45 kickoff. That means we will be live from 7:15. There are game passes available, international seasonal passes for £180 for those of you in certain territories can watch that game. And also there are Listen Live monthly passes as well, so you can listen to the game, particularly if you are here in the UK, to hear Jerry Taggart on co-commentary duty. Thanks to Matt, to Nuge and to Jerry for your company this evening. Unfortunately, we haven't seen another Leicester victory, but that unbeaten run does extend and the Foxes are up to 4th. We'll see you all again on Tuesday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Good night.